Milo, is that you?
There, I think I got it.
Gordy?
Yeah.
Gordy?
Lionel?
Gordy?
Lionel?
You got big shoes to fill tonight, buddy.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you're playing the part of the Bruce, the moderately agitated mail boy.
I'll do my best to be as agitated as possible.
Well, I don't expect you to do that, but are you excited?
Absolutely. Living the dream right now.
Yeah, living the dream, exactly. Living the dream. Some right now, people all over the world are listening to you on their podcast listening device. Wherever you catch, I hear other guys podcasts, and they go, wherever you catch your podcasts, blah, blah, blah. I need to learn the lingo, Gordy.
Yeah, does that mean you have like a big net or something? Like catching a butterfly?
Yeah, it's kind of like, learning the lingo is kind of like catching a butterfly. So, Gordy, I have a question for you.
Uh-huh. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you know if this is the first podcast since the last podcast?
I believe it is.
Okay. Do you have any as the president of the Nmra, is it your responsibility to keep track of that stuff?
I don't believe so, but I'm sure it'll add to my growing list of things to keep track of.
So what's one thing you did today as president of the Nmra?
I called our head of standards and conformance in California, and we spoke about standards gauges.
Standards gauges? Are you going to make new ones?
Yep, we're in the process of finding a new supplier.
So, oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You mean those metal gauges, those Nmra metal gauges?
Yeah, the metal gauges, yep. So we've got a bit of a problem. The ones that we've got at the moment for HO scale are cupping, so they kind of will click like a US paratrooper's clicker in World War II, which is not good enough. So we're looking at a new supplier, and we're looking at different options, innovation and all that. So we're looking at whether we can laser cut them, or whether they get stamped or even engraved, or even CNC machined. So we're looking at all the options, and we're going out to 15 different suppliers across the US next week to look at what our options are.
Why are you so organized? So here we're going to tell everybody that, you know what, let's bring in our guest. Our guest tonight, Gordy, is Brad Joseph, who is the chairman of the 2022 Nmra National Convention. Brad, come on in out of the green room.
Now, are you guys authorized to give me a promotion? I'm actually just the semi-co-chairman on a lower level.
Actually, we are.
Oh, you are authorized? Okay. All right. Well, I'll accept that.
Who's the chairman?
The co-chairman actually are Bob Amsler and John Schindler.
Okay. Well, one of you need to go break the news to them that you're now in charge.
I'm officially a lackey.
What's your lackey's? What's your term? What's your title?
My title is semi-autonomous lackey, in charge of clinicians and various items that get handed to me.
And that's
my official title.
And how did you end up with this job of talking to us on the podcast?
Oh, I bought one of those new Kanye West WPA or MPA MP3 devices, and I'm the only guy in the country who has one. So that, I think, is how I got hooked up here on the podcast tonight.
Funny guy, eh? So, do you live in St. Louis?
I live in Illinois on the east side of St. Louis. I can see the arch from my house, the top of the arch, though, the gateway to the west. So that kind of qualifies as Metro St. Louis. I live in a town called O'Fallon.
O'Fallon. I think I've heard of that. Do you know where O'Fallon is, Gordy?
I know that there's two O'Fallons. I know there's one in Missouri and one in Illinois.
Very good.
Wow.
Yep. So they call them Mo-Fallon and Ill-Fallon here in the St. Louis metro area.
Oh, okay. Look at that. How come, and then when you go to Kansas City, how come, is that like a thing in the United States in the lower 48? Because then when you go across the state of Missouri, then when you get to Kansas City, it's like right on the very border, and half of the Kansas City is in Missouri, and half of Kansas City's or the bigger part of Kansas City's in Kansas.
Well, we focus on a lot of very important things like that in the United States. So yes, that's a thing. That's a thing here.
You got guys from all over the world. You know, Gordy lives on a rock in the north of Scotland.
Well, the Orkney Islands, is that right?
That's correct. Yeah.
So I've been to Fort William, Gordy.
Oh, nice.
Yep. And I took the overnight train back to London from there, and really enjoyed it. My daughter went to school in Dublin for a year, and then I went to Dublin, and then we traveled all over the UK for some time a few years ago, and really enjoyed it.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah.
Where's Fort William?
It's on the west. It's on the west coast of Scotland. It's in the Highlands. It's famous because the Jacobite steam train runs from Fort William to Mallaig in summer, over the viaduct that was made famous by the Harry Potter films.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't there a Fort William in every country?
Probably.
There's two of them in Missouri, one on each side of the Mississippi River.
There's a Fort William in Ontario. I'm pretty. There's got to be like 7 Fort Williams in Canada. And what was I going to say? There's a Springfield in every state in the United States except for probably Hawaii and Alaska. Isn't that true? I think that's true. I think there's a Springfield in every state in every.
There you go. I think you're right, actually.
Yeah. All right. So the reason we've got you here, Brad, is because you're going to tell us and promote the 2022 NMRA National Convention, which is, when does it occur? What's the dates?
August the 7th through the 13th of 2022.
And how did you guys end up with those dates? Do you know?
Well, yes, it's appropriate because it's Tuesday, TWOS Day today, 2/22/2022. This will also be the second time that we've attempted this convention, as you know. We attempted it many, many eons ago, back in 2020, when the world was a different place, and had to throw in the towel on that one a couple months early, if you recall. We ended up with these specific dates because nobody bid for the 2022, the way I understand it, and because of the situation in the UK where the Birmingham convention couldn't go on, we ended up with the opportunity to run this again. And we had some difficulty selecting dates, getting dates from hotels and the like, because we started this process back when they really didn't know what the future was going to be like either. So that's kind of how we ended up in August, a little bit later than usual, as you know. But it'll work out splendidly.
Gordy, is there a standard? Is there a standard for the dates of the National Convention, or is it just kind of whatever's available?
Yeah, well, it comes down to obviously what's available, but it falls usually in July or August. But interestingly, our 2020 Mark II convention in 2022, I had to get that pun in, will be in August, and our 2023 convention in Dallas-Fort Worth will also be in August next year. So yeah, it's just the way it falls, but sometimes it can be July and sometimes it can be August.
We're going to be running a semi-official competition regarding humidity with the fellows putting on the one in Texas.
Yeah. It can get hot there in the summer, but it gets hot everywhere in the summer, so that's not really a thing. You got to understand though, everything's bigger in Texas, and they've promised me outdoor air conditioning, so I don't have to do a Frosty the Snowman impersonation. So when did you get wind of this? When did you guys decide you were doing the 2022 convention?
Well, quite frankly, the only thing I had to do with that, guys, was vote yes. I guess Bob and John were apparently contacted by somebody with the convention committee. I really don't know the whole story there. We were a little nervous to agree to take it on again because we agreed in early 2021, I guess it was. We started our hotel visits in March or April, I think. So I believe we agreed in early 2021. And, things were still very different then, of course. So it was a little nerve-wracking, and we've had a few glitches here and there, but we're moving along, and I'm at this point, I think we're all very happy we made this decision. It looks like things are going to come off very nicely. And the way things are converging here, I believe we're going to have a great convention.
Can you give us a little bit of insight? And Gordy, if you have any questions, feel free to jump in. Don't be nervous, because I know you're kind of a shy guy.
Absolutely, yeah.
Can you give us a bit of an idea? Because I feel bad for the guys, all you guys that tried to put it on in 2020, and then you got the rug pulled out from under you. And then now you're putting it on again in 2022. I mean, from a, I don't know, mental or angst, from an emotional standpoint, it must be pretty hard on you guys. Like it's got to be hard trying to get this thing underway, eh?
Well, yeah, I can speak to that. Actually, I was involved heavily in the 2001 convention in St. Louis, and the biggest memory I have about that is the day after the convention, I was depressed for about a month because, you're going a million miles an hour and you're hanging out with your friends all day long and half the night in some cases, and you're doing what you really love for 10 days, given preparations and the like, and then all of a sudden it's over. So the decision to pull the plug on the 2020 convention was very hard, and Bob and I were jointly on a video about that, and it was very hard. It was hard to speak to it. I mean, we were very sad because we were on the home stretch there. It was middle of March, and the convention was a month earlier, so we were much closer then than we are now. So it was very difficult. It is hard. Yes, there's a tremendous number of details to constantly be on top of, and what's been the most difficult part this time around is the fact that, bus companies, they're not all up and running. Tour companies aren't really all up and running and back yet. And convention centers and hotels. I mean, we've had a lot of difficulty getting some pretty basic answers from the hotels and the convention centers and the like. And a lot of organizations want not just non-refundable bigger deposits up front, but non-refundable 100% payments up front. Something that was unheard of before.
Really? They want non-refundable 100% payment up front?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Now, I've got some experience with these things because my youngest daughter's an event planner for a large organization in Nashville, although she lives in Louisville. And she also did events for the American Girl Doll Company and the like. So I bounced a lot of these things off of her. In fact, she's helped a little bit with our website and the like. But so regardless, it's been very difficult. But I got an expert, John Schindler, in that regard, who's been involved in transportation with the Nmra for a long time. And so we're getting through it. We've had a lot of experience at it, and we're getting through it. But yeah, it's hard.
I'll bet it is. I mean, hats off to you guys for picking it up again and running with it, because my goodness gracious, it just had to be unbelievably demoralizing to have to stop last time. Like, I can't even imagine how much work goes into a national convention.
Well, it's very kind of you to say. The conventions are an item that's near and dear to my heart. My dad was a model railroader, member of the Nmra for 75 years before he passed away. Our vacations, our summer vacations, almost always revolved around going to an Nmra convention. My first one when I was 2.5 years old in Chicago. Don't remember much of that. I didn't place very well in the model contest. I do remember that. But, the Nmra has an awful lot of very dedicated people, and the top four guys here, Bob Amsler and John Schindler and Jim Abels and myself, are very committed to this. And then we've got a second-tier cadre of guys like Gary Gross and Mike Thomas and Tom Ray and a few other guys who will be aggravated because I don't mention their names now. Some of them escape me, but we got a lot of people working on this pretty hard. But, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to work towards a common goal with your friends regarding a subject that you're passionate about and really enjoy. So, yeah, we're having a good time with it.
Is there an easy website to find?
Oh, it's gateway2022.org.
I'm going to try that right now. And is it .org because you guys are organized?
Well, it should probably be .semi.org, but that I think that URL was taken by, I don't know, by the Ottawa Senators fan club.
Ooh, nice one. What is the point of the Ottawa Senators?
I can't really answer that question.
Me neither. And I just live down the road.
they got a pretty sweet sweater, though. I will say that. I
come
think.
On.
Don't you like that?
It's an Ottawa.
No, I'm serious.
I don't care. I'm wearing a St. Louis Blues jersey. Now that's a good sweater.
Well, I picked up on that immediately. It is a very nice sweater, if I say so myself.
Yeah, no,
the Blue Note.
I got the original one though. I got an original like from years ago. That's the best sweater when they first came into the league.
Those were the days back when men were men and HO was the prominent gauge.
Exactly. And what's your second favorite team in the NHL?
My second favorite team in the NHL. That's an excellent question.
That's a pretty easy question if you think about it.
No, it's not actually for me. I'd have to maybe say.
Let me preface it a different way. Would you like this interview to go on and to be actually aired and to help you guys
Yes.
Yeah. So what's your second?
Yeah, so
Yeah. So what's
don't mention any more league balancing teams like the Ottawa Senators. All right,
Yeah.
all right. We're just making up the number teams. Think big. Think original six.
Yeah.
Well, you mean the Red Wings?
Yeah.
No, I'm joking. I can't stand the Red Wings or the Blackhawks. Well, the Leafs. The Leafs would have to be way up there.
There you go. Now we're getting it. Okay. Now somehow I didn't. Gordy, I'm going back to the. Let's see. I'm going to go back to. I'm on the NMRA site, and I'm not I get to the convention.
Please don't look for the address of the. Sorry, Daisy again. Yeah, what you're looking for?
I'm looking for national convention. All right, hang on here. Let me find it. I want to find an easy. The URL. I think I screwed up somehow.
Gateway2022.org.
Well, yeah, but see on the website it says www.eventsquid.com event.
That's okay. Yeah, that's where. So it redirects to that. So it's easier to say gateway2022.org so that people can get to that, and then what you get into there, which is the site it redirects you to, is a dynamic site that's easier for the team to do registrations through, etc.
Oh, what's a dynamic site?
Yeah, Event Squid underbid Event Possum by $150, something like that, to get our business.
Yeah, so you're right. So I did type into Google. gateway2022.org, and I did end up on this site. So, okay, so we're all set. So that's what everybody needs to enter for simplicity's sake into their computer at Google is gateway2022.org.
Yes. Now, a bit of very important information, if I may, on the 25th of February. I'm not sure if it'll actually be up on the 25th or we post a major site upgrade on the 25th for it to show up on the 26th. But we'll have all our layout tours priced, detailed, which layouts are available. We'll have an updated clinic list. We're going to have prototype tours available, listed and detailed information on the LD-SIG tour, up and priced, some merchandise up and priced. It's going to be a big, probably the biggest update that there will be.
Okay, so we're going to give you a very tough question. Are you ready, Gordy? You can help. You can help with this question, Gordy. This between the two of you. You guys are steering the NMRA right now on the air, on the podcast. You guys can help decide what's going to happen. You can have this podcast aired on March the 28th. You can have it. Let's see, March the 21st. March 21st, April 4th, April 18th, May 2nd. Which one of those dates do you guys want this podcast to air on?
The March date would be my guess. Gordy, what do you think?
Yeah, we need it to be on the March date.
March 21st?
Yep. We'd love to have it done.
All right, it's done. March
Wonderful.
21st. So guess what? What day is it today, Joe? Brad?
That's the 21st of March. It's 5 days before my 39th wedding anniversary.
Hot diggity dog.
How about that? And for our anniversary, my wife and I are taking the California Zephyr out to Glenwood Springs, Colorado.
Well, that'll be fun.
And you know what? It's 5 days before the president's birthday. So there you go.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if we're going down that route, it's 26 days before the host's birthday. So there you go.
Oh, that's more important.
Yeah, I would think so at this point. Okay, so this is a pretty slick website you guys have got here.
We're getting there. If you look at the layout images, those were created by my daughter, with photos collected, of course, from some of the fellas. But we kind of put a little bit of a whimsical, kind of supposed to evoke a little bit of a vintage postcard.
Okay, I love
layouts.
that. Yeah, look at that.
So that's kind of cool, huh?
It's very cool. Nice job. What's your daughter's name?
Carolyn Editol.
Carolyn Editol. Well, hi, Carolyn. Nice job on this. It's great. How many layouts do you think you got?
Oh, I know how many layouts we have. We have 55 right now that are on tour. I think we have 48 slides up there right now. A couple more to go.
Mackerel.
So I have a question about the layout tours, actually.
Yes.
So how have you found it working with people who are going to have loads of people in their basement post-pandemic? What's the challenges been there?
Let's see, how could I describe this? The challenges have been relatively minor, except for the few people that are seriously concerned. How's that for an answer? Most people are happy to do it. We've had a few people that agreed and then dropped out. We've had, a couple people that are, there's a few model railroaders that are up in the years. They tend to be a little bit more concerned, especially if they've got health issues. But it really hasn't been a problem at this point yet. Now, some people are giving us the let's wait and see scenario, but it really has not been a big problem.
And what is your thoughts on that, Gordy, as the president of the NMRA? Do you have concerns or anything?
No, I don't. I just, I think it's good. I think people are feeling more comfortable now, and it's good. It's just interesting because, I do a lot of virtual traveling around the country, and there's differing views depending, I suppose, what the infection rate has been like in your hometown. And of course, I work in a hospital, so I know exactly what's going on. And it's interesting. It's obviously been a concern for us as an organisation, and it's good that people are feeling more comfortable. I think currently people are feeling a lot more comfortable with the pandemic, where they're at with their vaccination status, what they need to do to protect themselves, and that's a positive thing because it's enabling us to get back to business as usual, which is good. So it wouldn't be a convention without the layout tours, Lionel. It just wouldn't be.
No, it wouldn't be. No, it wouldn't be, especially in national. I mean, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead, Brad.
Well, one thing that we did, and it did not really become a major portion of our plan as a result of the pandemic, but it garnered more attention as a result of it, and that's the drive yourself layout tours that we're having this year. We had kicked that around, and we're probably going to launch one of them in 2020, but that didn't shake out. Well, the one of the ideas that's really caught on with registrants and homeowners, home layout tour owners, is the drive yourself tours, because that will mitigate the number of people in your basement at the same time. At least in theory it will, depending on where everybody goes first.
I was going to say, the LD Sig Day might be a bit more of a challenge there, but certainly. I mean, 45 people turning up on a motor coach is a big deal. To then run them through your basement is a lot of people in a confined space. I've done many a layout tour, but the key thing for me is I want people to know, from listening to this podcast, that this is going to be that. We'll obviously. I'm sure that the team in St. Louis will play by the rules as they are, set at the time. But it won't be that we're having to have some kind of thing that's different from a normal national convention. All the normal activities and events that you would have gone to in the past will still be there, and I think that's really important. That people have the confidence in that it's a typical quality NMRA product that's going to be put on by the team out in St. Louis.
Well, to speak to that, if I may, my specific area of responsibility is clinicians, and we're sitting right now with 112 clinic sessions, and that's with just about every single session only being presented one time. That probably represents 90 different clinics right now, and I'm very proud of that. Yep, I'm very proud of that. We're working very hard. We've got about another 6 or 8 clinicians that we're still negotiating times and dates and subjects with. So we got a fantastic slate. Well, you're available. I think we got one slot left actually for you, Gordy.
Okay.
But no, I'm really looking forward to our clinics, and I'm very proud of that so far. As I mentioned before, we got 55 layouts, N scale to O scale, 14 bus tours, 12 drive yourself layout tours. We have right now 15 prototype tours that are arranged and resolved, and we've got a handful of those still up in the air that we're working on as well. So indeed, we are going to have every major activity. Been in touch with the LD Sig guys the other day. They got their layout tour underway. The Op Sig guys, I spoke with them the other day. Going to have a lot of great operating sessions going on at this event. There's a lot of good operating layouts in St. Louis, which, the operating thing is getting to be really a prime focus of this hobby.
Yeah, for sure. I am so proud of you. I am so proud of you guys. Hanging in there, and man, I just think this is just an incredible. I feel so bad that it got canceled once, and now you guys are like, what was the moment? Do you remember, Brad? What was the moment when you guys said, "Well, let's dig in and do this thing again"?
No, I really can't. It was, I was a car dealer. I've sold my business now, but it was a very tough time in the car business in early 2021. The state of Illinois, we had a lot of stuff locked down in 2020. A lot of that was just such a blur that I can't really remember the time the four of us all decided to proceed.
Right. It just
yeah, well, we may fabricate some entertaining stories about that late at night at the convention this summer.
Well,
but
if you do, remember them so you can tell them on the podcast.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do. But I don't really think we vacillated too much. I think we all wanted to do it. And one of the things that is really a lot of fun, I mean, every time I talk to guys about clinics and talk to the LDSIG guys and layout guys, everybody ends the conversation with, oh, man, we can't wait to see in St. Louis. We can't wait to come. We can't wait to be part of it. You know, we are all really looking forward to a gigantic party is the bottom line. That's the truth. It just happens to revolve around model trains, right?
Exactly. Well, it's the community of model railroading that's my new mantra now, it's the community of model railroading that's the most exciting of anything.
Yep.
So Brad, can we go back to some of the prototype tours, and we can ask some questions of people that are not from St. Louis, because obviously I am not from St. Louis. So I see that you've got a tour of the Port Harbor Railroad and the Terminal Railroad Association. So what would folks see on that tour?
Well, the Port Harbor Railroad is a small industrial railroad with SW type switchers, and they handle bulk commodity terminals in a little place called Cahokia, which is an inland port on the Mississippi River, and Granite City area, which is also an inland port on the Mississippi River, which has tremendous barges that are pushed up and down the river by towboats, even though they push, not tow. The Terminal Railroad Association is a major switching railroad owned jointly by a bunch of the Class 1 railroads. And they've got a hump yard in Madison, Illinois. So we expect to have a nice tour of the hump yard. We've had that in the past. And just last fall, the Missouri Pacific Historical Society had a private rare mileage train on the Terminal Association that we've just about got that wrapped up. That's not a done deal yet, but we're very close, with dome cars that we can ride around industrial trackage around the city of St. Louis. A lot of very interesting railroads in the St. Louis area. I mean, just about we don't have CP. We will have CP as soon as they purchase KCS. We got KCS, Canadian National. We've got Norfolk Southern. We've got BNSF and UP, of course. St. Louis was the home of the Missouri Pacific and a major city on the Frisco. So it's the number 3 freight city in the United States. Not really terminal, but it's number 3. Kansas City just surpassed it not too many years ago. But St. Louis, Chicago, and Kansas City, the big 3 cities in the United States as far as freight railroading is concerned. Tremendous traffic around St. Louis.
Do you plan on giving people any kind of like maps for ideal rail fanning spots?
Well, we have 2 specific rail fanning tours. Beyond those details on the rail fanning tours, I don't really know the answer to that. More than likely,
okay.
There are indeed 5 or 6 really key, very easy to access, very safe spots for great rail fanning photos and the like in St. Louis.
Okay, so you're more than likely going to have some sort of information for folks when they get to the registration table, because that's a long way off. So
Yep.
What were you saying about the update to the website? When was that going to happen? On February 28th?
February 25th.
Oh, okay.
Now, like I say, I'm not quite sure if it goes live on the 25th or if it's all done and goes live then on the 26th, but we've been really scrambling the last few days here to get all the tour information to make sure we got every detail that we can possibly collect at this point and really dump a lot of data into the website here.
So like just over 3 weeks ago, you updated the website.
Yep.
Wow, he picked up on that right away, Gordy.
Oh, yes. It was
Nice one.
March the 21st, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's right. Nice one. 3 weeks ago, he picked. Wow, I like that. So what kind of cars did you sell?
Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram.
Oh, yeah. Were you one of those guys that had like 7 dealerships?
I had, one point I had 2. When I sold out, I just had 1.
Oh, okay. That must be a hard job, eh?
It's entertaining.
I'll bet it is.
Yeah.
My son sold Hyundais for 5 or 6 years. He was very good at it. He was always like the number 1 or 2 guy in the dealership.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, but then his old man snagged him to come work at his business. So,
by the way, Gordy, I do have a Jaguar, though.
Oh, nice.
How about that?
I'm surprised it still runs. It
runs splendidly.
My godfather was a service director at an automotive dealership, and he said the only thing wrong with a Jag was every time he took it out for a run on a Sunday, you'd have to retune it on the Monday.
Well, my dad raced Jaguars back in 1952, and I've always loved Jaguars. And for a while, I actually owned a Jaguar, an MG, and a Triumph, all three at the same time. And there were times I would literally just start them all just to prove to my friends they all ran at the same time.
What was your daily driver?
Jeep Grand Cherokee right now, Jeep Cherokee for a long time.
Okay, yeah, because you sold them. So So what happens when you're the owner of a dealership? Do you just go, you know what? Today I think I want to drive a red one.
No, it's not quite the way it seems, gentlemen. We'll add those to the stories we're telling about how we decided to go ahead with the convention.
Yeah, well, I think that's. I want to. You guys, you have to go. You have to refresh because I want to have you on again before the convention, sometime maybe in June or something. We can do an update for everybody. I have a hard question for you. Are you okay with hard questions? Hard-hitting questions?
Let's do it.
I was watching the news. I like to watch. I'm a bit of a news junkie, so I was watching the national news there. And a couple months ago, and old Lester Holt there on NBC was telling me that St. Louis had one of the worst murder rates in the United States. Are you guys aware of that? And are you guys making some sort of? Is there some way to ease people's fears? I've had a couple of people say that to me.
Well, I actually thought. I wasn't so sure I'd get this question on the podcast, but
well, there you go. That's why we do this. Gordy, are we not hard hitting on this podcast?
Yeah, just be grateful you've not been asked about addresses.
Yeah, well, hang on before you go on, Brad. Gordy can tell you if you want to take a beating, you just come on this podcast because I just beat on him mercilessly. So yeah, I ask a few tough questions, and this is one of them because I think. Some people from quieter parts of the nation, quieter parts of the world, because you want to get as many people from around the world as possible. People are concerned about such things, and I'm sure, me personally, I think if you hang around the hotel and you're at the Marriott Hotel and you're doing the bus tours or you're doing the guided tours, I'm sure that everything will be fine.
Well, you've got the St. Louis Cardinals, which is one of the most storied sports franchises in the world. And they're going to be home during that week. There's going to be a lot of people downtown. The hard, cold facts are any big city, including some in the UK and including even some in Canada at a certain level, there is an unsavory element that tends to collect around those areas. Now, once you drill down, the vast majority of this violence is members of those elements having disagreements between themselves.
Right.
My wife and I, my family, we go to downtown St. Louis to see Blues games, Cardinals games, go down there for dining. The Gateway Arch is a national park.
Yeah.
A beautiful monument and a fantastic museum. St. Louis has some really wonderful tourist attractions downtown. Union Station. Is crime a consideration? Crime is always a consideration. You need to be aware of your surroundings. You need to take precautions. Do we believe that it's an issue that's going to affect our attendance or anything? No, we do not. St. Louis has a new mayor, Tashara Jones, who's working very, very hard to try and improve this. And believe it or not, and actually I listened to Lester Holt myself, St. Louis's major crime rate actually dropped last year.
Well, there you go. So
even with all the tremendous publicity that you hear, and the other thing is, I'm not a news sensationalist, but the facts are, what's going to make the news? The wiener dog race that's going on in Soulard, or a crime spree?
Exactly. So mostly what we're saying is that it's like any big city. There's you have to be careful, like any big city, whether you're in Toronto, Canada, or Denver, Colorado. You have to be careful. You have to be aware of yourself. But there's generally, because the downtown of St. Louis is such a vibrant place with the Arch and the St. Louis Blues and the Cardinals and all that right in that immediate area, there's no real reason to be concerned.
No, and I think it'll be just fine. I really believe that strongly. Tourism is an extremely important part of most big cities' economy right now. and maybe going to be more so in a year or two. And I don't think we're going to have any kind of an issue at all. And nobody that I've really talked to seems too concerned about that because, the facts are most NMRA members are not heading to the unseemly parts of town.
Right.
Well, I don't know. I guess you could describe a few railroad yards as unseemly, huh?
Yeah, I suppose you could. The accommodations at the Marriott St. Louis Grand, that's not an unreasonable rate, $150 a night.
No, I don't believe it is. I think that's pretty reasonable. As a matter of fact, I drove out to L.A. last summer to visit my other daughter and brought her grandson or her son, our grandson, back with us. And geez, we spent $120 at some second string motels, Motel 8s, Days Inn, Drury's, things like that. Hotel rates are pretty high right now, and as a result of that, I think this Marriott hotel is not only reasonable, I think it's a bargain, as a matter of fact. When you look at the quality of the hotel and the facilities that we have, we got really, really nice convention facilities in the hotel. All the clinic rooms are on the same level, very easy to find. Kansas City, which was a great convention, by the way, but the clinics were very difficult to navigate the locations because they were on these different levels and kind of back these rabbit warren hallways. But the convenience of all of the rooms at the hotel at the Marriott is going to be something people are really going to enjoy.
Yeah, that's another great thing. You guys are doing a great job for sure. So what about this clinic thing, having Gordy do a clinic? Where are we at with that?
We'd love to do it. No problem. I can find a spot for you, Gordy. We got Monday through Thursday, 8 to 8. Friday, we got 4:30 to 8. Those are our times at this point, and I have no problem finding any slot you want.
What's your clinic going to be about, Gordy?
Not a clue. Anything you want, it's fine.
Anything we want. All right.
How about questions for the NMRA president?
Anything. Well, we still need to sort those out, yeah, because there's obviously the guys have got a lot of things to sort out and a lot of rules and regulations over the last wave to deal with. But I'm assuming that Brad and the team are going to be in touch with me soon to sort out some presidential events that we normally hold at the national convention.
Oh, really?
And yeah, well, we normally do at least one opportunity to meet the president. But you know me, I'm hard to miss. So I'm sure there'll be many opportunities to meet the president. And we've got the members meeting on the Thursday evening, which is an open meeting for all NMRA members. And then we have Q&A. The meeting usually lasts about 8 minutes. And then we have Q&A for the remaining time, which is a good opportunity for people to ask questions and have answers and see things that are going on. But the national team will be there. And there'll be quite a lot of things going on. There'll be a lot of people that the heads of department, etc., will be at the convention at the beginning of it, certainly, and so people have the opportunity to do some meeting and greeting with various folk. But I was just looking at the hotel prices here, and the nightly rate for the Marriott St. Louis Grand is like normally at the moment anything from $225 to double the current room rate that we've got of $149. So it's a very, very advantageous room rate, and it's obviously choosing to stay at the convention hotel helps with covering the cost of running the convention. So and the registration will be open soon, I guess, Brad, for the hotel.
Well, it opened up, I believe, on the 21st of March.
Okay, there you go.
That's today. Yeah, it opened up today.
That's amazing.
Right,
so there
Brad,
you go.
Right, Brad?
To my knowledge, yes. The hotel link was made live with this most recent update.
Wow. Okay. So it was made live on the 28th of February or the 21st of March? Come on, Brad.
I'm really confused now where I'm supposed to be here.
Well, you want the podcast
somewhere in.
You want the podcast to be broadcast on March the 21st.
Yes.
So right now, people are listening to you. They're driving along in their cars. Don Iris is in his shed. The average Don is in his shed working on his layout. Or John Farrington is flying being a pilot, and he's listening. And today is March the 21st.
Well, I believe the site is actually going live on the 25th.
Okay.
Of February.
For
the hotel, yep.
So like 3 weeks ago.
It was about 3 weeks ago, yes, when you could actually begin to register for the hotel room.
So you can go to the website right now and you can register for your hotel room at $149 a night, which is an absolute bargain.
It actually is. You know what? I'm going to tell you something. I'm not going to guarantee or anything, but I was probably not going to go. But now that I see that the hotel's only $149 a night, I'm thinking, well, I might just go for 3 or 4 days anyways.
Well, the Art of Animation Hotel at Walt Disney World just raised their basic room rate to $600 a night.
But if you stayed there, it would be too far to drive back and forth for the clinic.
That's some commute.
Well, it'd be a long commute, yes. But my youngest daughter used to work for Disney World, and she keeps tabs of all such things, and she just let me know that.
Well, okay.
That's just crazy.
It is. Well, you could stay at my house, which is like 35 miles away. But then I'll only charge Gordy, for you, I'll only charge $400 a night.
So I'll have to sell a kidney.
Yeah, exactly. So, Gordy, when are you planning on getting a ride? Have you made your travel plans already?
I was looking tonight, actually. I'm coming out to the States before St. Louis. I'll be also attending the Indy Junction convention, COVID permitting, as well. So, yeah, I'll be out in advance of the convention. So we'll be out. The national team will be out from anywhere from the 4th or 5th of August, and we'll be holding the summer board meeting over the first weekend of the convention, and then into the week. So I'm there for about 10 days in St. Louis,
that's going to be.
I'll be melted. Yeah, I'll have acclimatized by the time I come home.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you do know it's the gateway to the West, right, Gordy?
Yeah, I have been before.
You have?
I have, yeah. I have a friend who lives in Fallon. So,
is that right?
Yes. So I have been out. I've checked out all the venues, all the locations. I can tell you it's safe in downtown St. Louis if you're English and you know how to talk your way out of things. But no, joking apart, it's absolutely safe. And went to see Sugarfire Barbecue, Josh Barton at Sugarfire, and it's a fantastic.
Josh is a model railroader, you know.
I know, and I know him very well, and it's a great city. It's a great location. Just the fact that you can sit there and sit in the bar at the hotel across from the ballpark and look at all of the microengineering bridges at 1-to-1 size is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
and,
well, that's exactly right.
It's a bit like Kansas City. I guess it's a Missouri thing. When we were in Kansas City, I can remember every window you seemed to look through, there was a train or a train track, with Santa Fe Junction and everything just there. And I guess it's the same in downtown St. Louis. You're gonna be struggling to not see a train. You got to be looking at your feet.
By the way, we have a tour scheduled at Microengineering too.
So do you have any idea what these tours are going to cost? I know you don't have the prices. Well, you do now, but I mean, if the thing you got to remember about the AML, Brad, is it's always last month or last week.
Yes.
Our news is all old.
Well, I'm embarrassed to say I do not know the exact tour price structure.
Okay.
And rather than misspeak, I'll take a powder on that, guys.
Sure.
But that's not my specific area of expertise here, but I do not know the exact details.
Right, and as we're talking, like you say, the website was updated, so it's all on the website now anyway.
Right,
yes,
exactly.
So if you go to gateway2022.org, you can see all of the prototype tours, the clinic schedule, the layout tours, and you'll also, I guess by now, have the modelling with the masters as well. So the hands-on make and take clinics will be up, and you'll be able to see all the prices.
Yep.
And see what's available.
Now, Gordy, did you know that the Museum of Westward expansion underneath the arch was just completely redone about 1.5 years ago?
Oh, wow. Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, it's a fascinating museum, telling all the stories of Lewis and Clark's Core Discovery Expedition of the Pacific Ocean.
And how far away is that from the hotel?
10-minute walk.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff within walking distance of the hotel, eh?
Yep, you bet. Beautiful courthouse, very old courthouse with great historical displays. The St. Louis Blues Museum, not the hockey museum, the Musicians Museum, is almost literally directly across the street from the hotel.
Oh, okay. Have the St. Louis Blues, the hockey edition, have they ever won the Stanley Cup?
I believe they did in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. It seems to me they went from last to first place in 2019, actually.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, as of today's date in 2019, they were in last place. and they seem to have pulled off the Cup victory, if I remember correctly.
And as of right now, the Toronto Maple Leafs are 2 positions ahead of them in the overall standings. So try not to get too excited.
Well, I'm not too worried about the overall standings. It's kind of like getting your lad up for operation. First, you got to get the bench work. Then you got to get your trackage laid properly. And if the operating session comes off, it doesn't necessarily have to be the finest model railroad ever, but you got to be able to pull it off.
You got Michael Gross as your keynote speaker?
Michael Gross is a keynote speaker, yes.
Wow.
Michael Gross and his wife outbid my dad on a Santa Fe PA1 Indian head metal logo in Topeka, Kansas many years ago, and I got to get my revenge on him for that.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, that'll be fun. So, if you go to the keynote speaker, there's a little write-up by him about being on there. We should see if we can get him on the podcast before the convention and let him share some of his excitement about it.
Very entertaining fella, and we're really looking forward to that, to having him tell us some tales.
What do you think about that idea, Gordy, if we got him on the podcast to tell us about
Awesome.
Okay.
I think the more NMRA members you can get on the podcast, the better.
All right, there you go. Well, you're the president. Give him a dingle. You must have his number.
Yeah, I'm sure I could. Yeah, actually, it wouldn't be difficult. I'll use the presidential hotline.
Yeah, use the presidential hotline. Let's see. Okay, it's John Schindler. Oh, okay. And Brad Joseph. Okay, I'm looking at Okay, now, Brad, tell us a little bit about yourself, about your model. Do you have a model railroad right now, or?
Oh, yeah. I got, there's some photos on there. It's about the 5th or 6th one down. I modeled the Union Pacific from Cheyenne to Laramie, Wyoming. Big time steam is my favorite thing. Passenger trains. I operate 11 different passenger trains on my layout. Had an operating session last night, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
My dad was a model railroader his whole life. His layout was featured in Nmra in 2001, the year we had the convention. He had a beautiful model railroad. He called it the Harriman Hill system. It was a joint Great Northern Union Pacific line that went northwest across Wyoming, kind of freelance, where mine is prototypical. My buildings are some scratch-built structures of Union Pacific prototype, and Sherman Hill, high country, wind-swept plains. And then I also model a section of the Utah Canyons, Echo and Weber Canyon, with snow-capped mountains there.
Wow.
I'm a big fan of the UP.
It's a beautiful, from the pictures on here it is, the Big Time Steam. Visit Brad Joseph's Wyoming Division. Now, when are you going to have time to have your layout open?
Yeah. Well, as a matter of fact, my wife and I talked about that today. I'm going to be open for an LD SIG tour, for a drive yourself tour, for a bus tour, and for an operating session. My dachshund Barney is well versed with the operation of the layout, so he may have to co-host for a while, though.
So there's going to be. So you said bus tours. So is there going to be bus tours and drive yourself tours?
You mean to my layout in particular, or to layouts in general?
Just in
general.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So let's.
And with every full fare registration, you get to select one of the drive yourself layout tours at no extra cost. How's that for a value?
Wow. Okay. So then, if you want to, so the drive yourself tours there's still going to be a cost to them, except if you register, you're going to get one for free.
Correct.
So do we know what the cost of the layout tours are?
Once again, I have to take a powder on that rather than misspeak, I'm afraid.
Okay.
I can't say I know exactly what. If you go to the website, you'll see those prices are up right now, but I'm embarrassed to say I can't recall the exact price.
Okay.
Well, see, the thing is, I guess they're all going to be different depending on the tour, the duration, and where it is, aren't they? So
generally speaking, they're the same price, Gordy. The bus tours all are pretty much the same price, and the drive yourself tours are all pretty much the same price. Now we've got like a tour that goes to Springfield, Illinois, that's a longer distance. Marion, Illinois, that's a longer distance. Those are different prices, I think. But
so what I was trying to say, Brad, is that people need to go to the website because they're all different, and it would be impossible for you to know them all.
Indeed.
There you go.
Yep, indeed. The website's a handy place to visit. I recommend visiting it.
I'm looking at it. I've been looking at it the whole time we've been talking, and it's great. It's really well laid out. It's really easy to use. Let me see. Where's
most of the credit for that website goes to Jim Abels and then John Schindler. Those two guys in particular have worked tremendous hours on that website. I pass over, Bob and I pass over some information to him, but Jim Abels is the president of the Gateway Division, and he's won several service awards for the NMRA. He's doing a really good job, as is John Schindler, but both of those guys should take a bow for that website work. They're shouldering the major load there.
A tip of the hat, but I can't see what it. So do I have to be a member of the NMRA just to see what the price of the convention is?
No.
All right.
No, you just go to attendee registration at the bottom on the left, and
right. Okay, and then it
takes yourself signed up.
It takes.
I can tell you how much it is.
No, because you know me. Do you know me, Gordy? I'm a pain in the butt when it's something.
Push the buttons.
All right. Hang on now. Let's go. Let's help people here. So I'm on the main page, and I go all the way down below documents. It says attendee registration.
That's right.
So I click on that, and then I click on adult, and then
Whoa. I thought you were youth, but yeah, click on adult, and then
nice one,
and then
click on go.
Yeah, and then it should come up, and you should see.
And now it's asking me, you must be an NMRA member to be eligible for this registration. All others should use the non-NMRA registration, but it doesn't. Where's the price?
It's $175.
Why isn't the price on the website?
It is on the website.
It is
on the website. So as you go through and do the registration, it'll show you the prices. So it's $175 for an NMRA member, and it's I believe $200 for a non-member. And then youth registration is $25, and partner spouse registration is $65.
So you can, if you go as a non-NMRA member, do you have access to everything?
Yes.
Yeah, apart from the NMRA members meeting, of course.
Right.
But everything else you would have access to.
All right.
And you'd be able to enter. You'd be able to. I'm not sure about the contest in terms of entering, but you can go in and have a look at the models in the contest. Right. You can take part in the model with the masters clinics. You can basically take part in any of the convention activities, and experience it as if you were an NMRA member. And you can even get it. Your registration includes access to the National Train Show, and convention registrants get in on the Friday morning before the public. So you have all the advantages of that. You get to go around the show when it's a bit quieter on a Friday morning. It's great. It's an NMRA national convention is been referred to as the University of Model Railroading. It literally is. If you go and sit in however many clinics it is, I think it's possible to sit in. If you were at a clinic every time, and also threw in some layout tours and some prototype tours, it's going to be so much information. You're going to be soaking it up like a sponge for the whole week.
Well,
you can't get that anywhere else.
No, absolutely. I like that. The University of Model Railroading. I like that.
The variety of clinics is astounding.
How much you must be putting in a ton of work doing that.
Well, it's a lot of work to get that organized, yeah, because to get the times and the dates and trying to mix up the clinics so you don't have three of the same type of clinic going on at the same time. But we've got them everywhere from Elger benchwork to building structures out of cardboard to 3D printing to Arduinos, to old school plaster casting and making trees, on and on and on, decaling, weathering, pan pastels.
And there's 6 clinics. Each day there's 6 clinic rooms, and there's 8 hours of clinics in 6 rooms per day, non-stop.
8 hours of clinics in 6 rooms per day. Holy mackerel.
And we also have what we call the after hours clinic club. And that's going to be in the SIG room. And a lot of the clinicians have agreed to go hang out in the SIG room after their session so they can continue discussions, answer questions, maybe pass out some more details, explain some things that they didn't get a chance to explain maybe quite as in depth as they'd like in the actual clinic.
Yeah, and that's a really great idea. I think that's something really that we've learned from doing the virtual events over the last 2 years is giving people access to the clinicians after after hours, so to speak, after their clinic's done, because there's always more questions than you've got time for.
Oh, yes.
It's been a real benefit, and people have found it really useful, especially if you really got a passion about that subject and you really want to try it out and you want to ask some very bespoke, specific questions that might not be of interest to everybody else. Well, rather than, interrupting everybody else's enjoyment of the clinic, you can take it offline kind of thing, and it's been very, very popular with Nmra, and last year with the online convention in Santa Clara, or from Santa Clara, and it's something that we've incorporated into that. So it's nice to see that we now can incorporate that into in-person events as well, and that's what's so good about the Nmra as an organisation, is that we were always looking to learn lessons from everything that we do, and then reincorporate it and adapt it and use it in a new way. And it's good that Brad and the team are doing it. So,
guys, my dad used to take a little pocket notebook. He had a pocket notebook in his shirt pocket all the time. It was before, obviously, PDAs and cell phones. And at some point in, I don't know, November, December, he'd start making a list of questions he wanted to ask at the NMRA convention of model builders, clinicians, whatever. And we'd show up at the convention, he'd have his list, and he'd flip through there, and he'd ask some guy, well, how do you do this? And how'd you do that? And I saw an article about this structure you built. How did you cast these pieces? And he literally kept this list of questions that he would ask at the NMRA convention.
Wow. That's a great idea.
In those days, it was, obviously no YouTube. That was the only way you found out a bunch of stuff in those days, was to speak to your peers.
So can I ask you a personal question, Brad?
Yeah.
What position did you play?
Well, in college, I was a defenseman.
Right.
And now I play left wing.
Because you're a speed guy? You're all speed?
Well, I am pretty fast, if I say so myself. I'm relatively fast. I'm kind of shifty,
right?
And I'm cagey and wily as well.
Oh, you're cagey and wily.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you try it if we get Gordy up on skates and him and I are defense. You try going around us and see how well that works.
I think I could get around you guys.
All right, okay. I'd run you into the corner. I'll run you into the corner. I'll give you the inside. I'll give you the boards, but I'm running you into the corner.
I'd pull a Denis Savard spinorama. Maybe would be a move I'd try.
The old spinner.
You need to be quick before one of us lands a 5-minute in the box.
the old spinorama.
And then maybe I'd finish with a Michigan.
Wow. All right. I'm going to ask you a hockey question that's really going to find out just how much of a hockey aficionado you are.
Okay.
I don't expect Gordy to know this answer, but I do expect you to know this answer based on your love of the game of hockey. Do you know who Danny Galvin is?
Danny Galvin? I don't know. I'm a little stressed out right now. I'm sitting in the presence of the NMRA president. I can't think who's Danny Galvin. Give me a hint.
He was. Do you know who Foster Hewitt was?
Oh, of course, sure. Hockey Night in Canada, of course.
Well, he was Montreal's version of Foster Hewitt. If you weren't listening to Foster Hewitt, you were listening to Danny Galvin.
Well, I should have known that because Noel Picard, the big pick, was a good friend of mine.
Well, so wasn't he born in Nova Scotia?
Who?
Danny Galvin.
Maybe. Do you know who Do you know who Danny Galvin is?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because I'll tell you why I know. Because I was in Nova Scotia and I was at the Museum of Ice Hockey and they had a thing about Danny Galvin.
I'll be darned. I'm impressed, Gordy.
He was born in Sydney, Nova Scotia.
Wow.
There you go.
Huh.
Danny Galvin, and he was famous for a scintillating save.
Well, the big pick saw my layout one time.
Really?
Yep, his son was in the United States Air Force, and he plays in the hockey league I play with, and his son Dan and I are good friends, and Noel would come down from Montreal several times a year and come to our games and hang out with us and have a lot of fun.
I was talking on another podcast. I used to play floor hockey with Dan Maloney, who was a 12 or 15-year veteran of the NHL.
Oh, yeah.
And he was a coach of the Winnipeg Jets for a while. Okay, I had enough. Oh yeah, I want to know about your dad. So should I assume that your dad is passed by now?
He's passed away, I'm afraid. He passed away in 2009.
Okay.
Yep.
And so you said he was was he a lifelong model railroader?
Yes. Yep.
Do you remember what year was he born?
Well, he was born in 1927.
Wow.
And I have a 1939 issue of the NMRA bulletin of his with his address on it and membership number. I don't know, what year did the NMRA start, actually, Gordy?
35.
35. So at the 75th anniversary convention in Milwaukee, my dad had passed away, but he was honored there because he'd been a member for, well, I don't know, I guess it'd been 70 years at that point. And then also in his name, part of the display at the museum in Sacramento is in his honor. I'm very proud of that.
Wow, you should be. What was your dad's first name?
Oliver
Joseph. And so part of the museum in Sacramento is dedicated to Oliver Joseph.
Yep.
Did you know that, Gordy?
I knew there was a part of it. I've heard the name because we were talking about it at the winter board meeting.
Yep.
So there you go. That's how I knew.
What were you talking about it? Why were you talking about it?
Oh, because of course we've got to maintain the exhibit at the California State Railroad Museum, and we need to make sure it keeps it fresh as people each year. You can't just leave something the same forever. So
right,
we were talking about how we were refreshing it, what it needed, models for they've got a layout there, and obviously that it needs maintenance, it needs new models and things to run on the layout. So
what
kind of stuff.
What is the display? Is it like in a room or something, or what?
Yeah, so it's an exhibit that's part of the California State Railroad Museum.
Okay.
There's an NMRA exhibit. It's part of one of the exhibits they have there. It'll be there for 10 years, it was installed and opened, unfortunately, during COVID last year in 2021. But it's open. People can go and see it. It's apparently beyond the children's play area. I don't know how that works with our youth policy, but it's fine, and it's beyond the children's play area in the California State Railroad Museum, and hopefully somebody in California will be willing to do a NMRA convention nearby. Hopefully, because obviously it was supposed to all kind of tie together with being in Santa Clara, but that didn't quite work out. And hopefully somebody else will step up and we'll have a convention there and be able to do tours. But irrespective, if people are going to travel to California, the Californian State Railroad Museum is one of the most popular attractions in California. So
really?
It's well worth a visit.
I'm interested. Can I ask you some more questions about your dad?
Yeah, sure.
I mean, that's very cool. So
Yep.
was he in St. Louis too?
Yeah, O'Fallon. He was born and raised about a mile from where I live.
Wow. And you say his layout was featured in Model Railroader in 2001, you said?
2000 was the April issue in 2001, yeah. It was called the Harriman Hill System is what he called it.
Wow. And so you grew up, how much of a layout did he have when you were, say, 12?
12, we had a different layout called the Great South Pass, built from a series in Model Railroader in the 50s.
All right. And
my dad was a contributor to the Kalmbach book the first Kalmbach book on operations. He was a very an early advocate of serious operations. And as a matter of fact, he got to operate on Frank Elson's Delta lines. How about that?
How about that? I think may I ask you how old of a gentleman you are?
I'm 63.
Don't take this the wrong way, but you may be. Take this the wrong way if you want to. But you may be the oldest son of a father that was a model railroader that I've met, because I've met plenty of guys that are in their 40s whose dad was a model railroader, blah, blah, blah. But I don't think I've ever met anybody that whose dad became a member of the NMRA in the 30s. Yeah,
well, I'm very proud of that, actually. And like I said, it was part of our life. My mom was a railroad buff. She collected railroad dining car china.
Really?
And, Yep. So our family had a lot of fun, in particular at NMRA conventions, which is one of the reasons why I think I'm so dedicated to them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's important, though. I mean, it sounds like the St. Louis area. I mean, you and Bob. So who is it? It's you and Bob Amsler and
John Schindler and Jim Abels.
Okay. So is it you four guys are the main four guys running it, kind of thing?
Yeah, we are the four partners in the St. Louis Rail Partnership. That's the moving force behind this.
Okay.
And then, of course, there's a second and third tier of people that are working hard for too, but we're the four principals.
Okay. And this all came about because you wanted to do the 2020 convention.
Yeah, and all of us worked on the 2001 convention, which was a very successful convention. It was a lot of fun, but the four of us were very heavily involved in that.
Okay, so then you just kind of decided. So, all right, let me ask you this.
What took us all those years to recover, actually,
Well, yeah.
Lionel, from.
So let me ask you this question, because I very much want to help you guys as much as I can make this a successful convention. That's why I'm happy to have you on again, say towards the end of June or something, which of course we'll end up recording that around the end of May, but because it's always last week in the AML.
Sure.
So I'm interested in what was it that made you guys. You did it in 2001, and then what was the excitement? Do you remember that made you guys say, "Hey, let's do this again"?
Well,
is it just a love of the hobby that you just enjoy, and all you can see is positives from doing this much work? Because I mean, really, it's not a thankless job, but it's a lot of work for. Really, the only real return is the satisfaction of giving people a good time.
Well, what do we like to do? We like to show our friends our layouts. We like to show them the latest structure that we built or the latest locomotive that we weathered. And we also like to share our hobby and the joys of our hobby with a lot of other people. And what's the best way to do that? Having a convention, attending one, setting one up. It is a kick. It's a rush to do it. It's the same reason people who play hockey start coaching it when they can't play anymore. Maybe, they want to be involved in their favorite activity.
Right.
And there's a lot of good people in the hobby. There's a lot of good people in most hobbies in this world. And it's a lot of fun to set up and organize one of these conventions. It is a lot of hard work, but you get a tremendous amount of satisfaction from it. Now, I've been involved in a lot of regionals and local conventions too. But the national's a kick. It's the big event, man. It's the Winter Classic. It's the Stanley Cup, all kind of rolled into one, right?
It's a Daytona 500.
Yeah, exactly right.
Absolutely. It's the Indianapolis 500.
Now, I was not involved in the bid for 2020, but after that had been placed and these guys had won the bid, they asked me to come on board. And after they drugged me kicking and screaming into the fold, I reluctantly agreed.
So, Gordy, from a president's standpoint, how much involvement do you have?
It depends. It varies from convention to convention. At the moment, because it's such an experienced team in St. Louis, not a great deal with St. Louis, but that gets busier as we get closer, as we start organising events that revolve around the national organisation. But for example, in Texas, though, I've been heavily involved in that, and another, the other side of being the president and with national conventions is trying to convince people that it's a good idea to want to put one of these things on. And I inherited a situation where we don't really have many people stepping forward to put on conventions. So, Brad's a great advocate and explained the whole process very well on this episode. And I would encourage anyone who's interested. It doesn't have to be an NMRA division. The St. Louis Convention is a group of model railroaders putting this on for other model railroaders. It could be the AML network could put on a national NMRA convention in a city of your choice. It's around it's just around a group of dedicated people wanting to put something back into the hobby, and it's a lot of fun, especially if you want to show off the place where you live. And just because your city's not as big as St. Louis and hasn't got as many trains going through in a day doesn't mean that we're not interested in hosting a convention there. We want to move the event around and hold it in as many places as possible. We don't want to keep going back to the same place. So, yeah, I would just encourage anyone who's interested to get involved and to come and speak to me as the president or the meetings and trade shows department of the NMRA. And, I'd be involved as much or as little as you want me to be. In the British region, of course, where I live, I am the events coordinator, so I cop for being involved in every single regional convention and every single regional meeting that requires assistance because it doesn't have a local group. So I'm actually planning the British region convention for 2022 and working closely with that group, and also seeking groups for 2024 in the British region, etc., etc. So it's kind of, I feel like my entire model railroading life is seeking people to run conventions, but it's a very, very rewarding activity to get involved in.
Do you have a day job?
Yeah, I work in a hospital, and there's a few things going on right now that make my life in the hospital really busy, as it's part of the senior management team in the hospital. But I do that full time and run the NMRA.
Yeah, and run the NMRA. That's it. You don't have too much to do, and to be interspersed in all that, every once in a while you have to get on one of these podcasts and have me beat on you like a rented mule.
And that's fine. Transparency is important.
Exactly. Very cool, Brad, about your dad being such a lifelong. Very cool to meet somebody. I mean, really, your heritage is you've been in the hobby since 1935, almost 100 years in your family.
Yep. I'm very proud of that, actually. My dad was a good modeler, too.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question that's not about the convention, but it's about model railroading?
Shoot.
And you might be a really good guy to ask this question to. Because ever since I started this podcast, the one thing I constantly, and I'm assuming, Brad, you've listened to all of the podcasts and some of them twice?
I've listened to 7 of them 3 times, the hat trick.
Oh, wow. There you go. Do you know where that hat trick thing started?
Sure, of course. The Mad Hatters.
Do you know where the hat trick tradition
started?
Yeah,
they tossed a hat. They were a sponsor of the team in, where was it, Hamilton, Ontario? Was that where it was?
No, it was in Toronto.
Was it Toronto?
It was.
But
Toronto.
that was it, right? They owned a hat company, and if a guy scored 3 goals, they gave him a hat.
Yeah, that's right. Very good. On Blue, and they were on Bloor. No, not Bloor Street. They were on King Street.
Oh.
You know that. Here, let me give you a little. This is my life. Would you not say that Toronto is the center of the hockey universe? Not the best team, but I mean the head office for the NHL is here.
Oh, so, no doubt. Absolutely no doubt.
Right. So my son and I, we partner in Seasons Tickets. My buddy Bill, he has Seasons Tickets, been in his family since 1941. And my son and I, when they built the new arena, because he'd had his Seasons Tickets for so long, he was one of the early people to get to choose the tickets. And he was looking in the lower bowl, and he just said to the lady offhandedly, "Has anybody picked seats in the upper bowl?" And she said no. So he went up there and he picked seats just on the blue line of the end that the Leafs attacked for 2 periods. My son and I were sitting there once about 7 or 8 years ago, and I said to him, "Are these not the best seats in the house?" And he went, "Absolutely, undoubtedly, these are the best seats in the house. Front row of the upper bowl at the blue line of the attacking end for the home team, facing the players' bench." He said, "Absolutely, these are the best seats in the house." And I said, "Is this not the center of the hockey universe, Toronto?" And he says, "Yeah." I said, "Are we not sitting in the center of the hockey universe? I believe our 2 seats are the center of the hockey universe. That's how much we're attached to hockey."
Well, that's pretty good. And, you realize, of course, the universe is constantly expanding.
Exactly. And 57 years ago, we won a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, well, which was the year the Blues came into the league.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ever since the St. Louis Blues came in. That was a long-winded story, but that was not my question.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes, Brad, you'll notice if you ever listen to the podcast, I tell long-winded stories.
Yes, I have noticed that.
Hey. Oh, wait a minute. I think the power went out. Your dad you and your dad, I mean, man, you've been in this hobby for like almost 100 years. You got the heritage of being in this hobby for like almost 100 years. I think you're the first person I've ever met that I could say that to, which I find incredibly fascinating and intriguing all at the same time. So ever since I started this podcast, I've kept thinking to myself, man, this hobby just seems bigger than I ever imagined. Does this hobby seem bigger to you than people realize?
Yes. Oh, I agree completely. Yeah, I agree completely. And I run into people very regularly that I've known for a large portion of my life, and I wear my heart on my sleeve. Everybody knows I'm into model trains. And yet I'll run into some business associate or some citizen of one of the towns that I frequent or a restaurant I go to, and I find out they're into model trains, and I had no idea. Mm-hmm. They didn't tell me. They didn't bring it up to me. I don't know what the deal is, why they would keep that quiet. I don't think there's any sort of a stigma to it anymore. Years ago, there was probably.
Yeah, but
no, I think it's the hobby. I think is huge, and I believe it is expanding, actually.
Me too. I absolutely think the thing's growing. I think personally, here's what I think. I think the hobby's going to explode, and we're all going to be covered in model railroad goo.
Anything's possible.
That's right. Okay, let's wrap up this thing about this great convention you guys are running. So I would like to have you on again, even if it's on, just for a half hour or something, just to give us an update on what's happening and everything, because I really would like to help you guys as much as possible. I found an easy way. So I found that if you go to the Nmra, so there's a glitch, I think, in your website that you got to talk to your guys about. A little glitch. If you go to the registration via the Nmra homepage, we're just under Nmra, the Gateway 2022, it says registration website, and you go to that, and you click on that, you scroll down, and there's it has a countdown clock. It says when it's going to August 7th or 13th. It's not a countdown clock, but it has the dates. It has the hotel. It has YouTube video about the convention, and right below that, it has the prices. It has an MRA full registration, blah, blah, blah. But if you click on the other link from the actual website, it just goes to this whole convoluted thing where you got to sign up and tell them all your life story before you get to the prices.
Well, we'll actually check that this evening. As I said, I'm heading over to a meeting as soon as I close the laptop here, and I'll check that at once.
Perfect. It sounds like you're in a hotel while you're doing this podcast.
Nope. Just the bread company.
The bread company?
Yep. Panera Bread Company.
You may be the first guy that's ever done this podcast from a restaurant.
Yeah, the shrimp in the green room, it's really bad now, Lionel, People are doing takeout instead,
Yeah, they're giving up on the shrimp in the green room. They're doing takeout instead. Okay, Brad.
Guy just walked by me with a box of Danish.
There you go. Okay, Brad. So let's do a synopsis here, and what'd you say your name was, Gordy? Let's do a synopsis here of the convention. It's August 7th to the 13th. It's at the Marriott in downtown St. Louis, which is really close to St. Louis Cardinals, and it's right in the heart of downtown St. Louis.
Correct.
We all agree that it's a safe place to be. It's just the same as any other big city you go to. You just got to be just the way you are with anybody. It's not very far from a big rail yard either.
Nope.
It's right near the Mississippi River. It's right near Cardinals, where the St. Louis Cardinals play.
Metrolink Light Rail.
Metrolink Light Rail, if you want to do that. Interstate 44, Interstate 64, Interstate 55.
St. Louis Union Station.
St. Louis Union Station.
Amtrak Station.
Airport. There's airport.
There's an airport.
We do have an airport, yes.
That's good. Is it easy to get from the airport to the convention hotel?
Light rail. Light rail takes you from the airport to 2 blocks away.
Perfect. So people can fly in and do it that way. You got how many layouts you got right now?
55 layouts right now. We're on tour, scheduled on tour.
And those can either be drive yourself or take a bus?
Correct.
You have how many clinicians do you think you're going to have?
Well, we have 112 clinic sessions right now, somewhere in the neighborhood of 90 separate individual clinics, probably given by about 75 clinicians as of right now.
Holy mackerel.
By the way, had a registration day from Chile.
I bet you we have an AML fan from Chile. Hopefully he'll be wearing his shirt. You should give a prize to anybody who's wearing their AML shirt.
He's got a hobby shop in Chile. His name's Miguel.
I wonder if that's cold.
I wonder if it's cold.
Chile? Oh, come on.
It's Chile.
Not this time of the year. It's the southern hemisphere.
It's Chile,
guys.
Yeah.
Chile.
Yeah, it's Chile. Prototype tours. How many prototype tours you got?
15, I think we have scheduled right now.
Wow. And you got stuff for if somebody brings their wife, they got stuff for them to do? Oh,
my goodness, yes. St. Louis has a wonderful cultural scene. History Museum, one of the world's great zoos, literally one of the greatest in the entire world.
Accommodations are in the Marriott Hotel for only $149 a night, which is a spectacular price for a national convention.
Yeah. I just want to point out that there's things for my wife to do as well. Train things.
Okay.
We don't just put our wives in the sewing room.
Okay.
No, well, that's very true.
How did you do on Valentine's Day, Gordy?
Really well.
All right.
I didn't get in trouble at all.
Attaboy. And take my advice to heed, will you? Please. I'm begging you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
How'd you do on Valentine's Day, Brad?
Oh, great. My gift to my wife was an operating session on the following Tuesday. So I cleaned the whole house. She makes me clean the whole house, clean the basement. Everything's got to be spotless. So she's very happy when I have an operating session, and she was very pleased that Valentine's Day.
Let's see.
Alex was over the moon with her KCS scaletrains.com auto rack.
How nice. How lovely.
And your keynote speaker is none other than Michael Gross, who's very well known.
Michael Gross, of Family Ties fame.
Family Ties fame, and Burt Gummer. Do you know who Burt Gummer is?
No, who's that? I let you down on the personalities, didn't I?
Yeah, first Danny Gallivan and now Burt Gummer. You don't know who Burt Gummer is?
No, I'm sorry.
Gordy, would you like to take this one?
Hang on.
Not too late.
Yeah. So was it a character?
It was
was played by Mr. Gross.
In all the Tremors movies, the series of Tremors movies, one of the mainstay characters in every Tremors movie was Burt Gummer, played by our very own Michael Gross.
Yeah, okay. All right. Never seen any of those, actually.
You don't have to see him. He's going to be your keynote speaker.
I know.
You got to bone up on who Burt Gummer is.
He's got a classic body of work.
He does. He's gone from Family Ties to Burt Gummer. And Burt Gummer is huge. It's a cult thing for those who are in the know. Let's see what else. I think we covered it all. If somebody has a question, there's contacts here. If somebody has a question and they'd like to email a question to somebody, who would they email that to?
Well, I believe there's 3 email addresses on there: general, registration, and clinics, which comes directly to me. The clinic one does.
The best thing to do is info.gateway2022@gmail.com. That's
there you go.
Information. And there's also the guys' phone numbers on there. So if you go to gateway2022.org, go to contacts, and there's Jim, John, and Brad's phone numbers and email addresses, so you can contact the person that you want to ask. So there's one for registration, one for information, and one for clinics.
Yeah.
How about that?
And if Brad Joseph doesn't answer the phone, he lives at 22 Bonnie Meadow Lane in O'Fallon, Illinois.
Well, it's the wrong address, but the dachshund gets the phone if I don't answer it.
We're not going to give it the right address, or else everybody will show up at your door. Thousands of people are going to listen to this, Brad. Thousands.
I know. I hope they all come to the convention and come to my door.
Yeah. All right. Well, nice. Very good. How big is your layout?
Oh, it's not huge. I don't know.
Doesn't have to
24 feet on one wall, 40 feet on the other wall. But, there's staging yard. It's a double-deck layout. It's a nice size layout. It's manageable. I didn't want to build too big a one. They can get to be overwhelming if you maintain it yourself, All
right, 20 by 20, 24 by 40. That's not small.
No, it's. I would guess it's probably about an average size layout in this day and age. Most of my friends' layouts are bigger, actually.
Really? Eh?
Yeah, and it's like 2 houses in the UK.
Yeah. Well, except I've seen plenty of pictures of your house, Gordy. You got a nice plot there.
Yeah.
I bet you got one of the nicest places on the island.
No, yeah. It would be in the top half. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. How's that new car going? What did you buy? A Renault?
No, it's a Citroen. I drive a Citroen Berlingo family vehicle.
All right,
7-seat unit. Seven seat unit.
What's the fastest you can go anywhere on the Orkneys?
60 miles an hour. So the cool thing about Orkney is there are no traffic lights. There's one stop sign on the whole island. Everything else is a yield,
right.
And the 90% of the roads have a 60-mile-an-hour speed limit.
60
but of course,
on those roads.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel!
Yeah, you've got to drive to the conditions. But you don't do 60 when you can't see the road, which is quite common.
I would say. Yeah.
And you got to remember, there's no street lights.
All right.
So there's no street lights. It's absolutely dark. In winter, we get 5 hours of daylight, so it's dark. In summer, though, it doesn't matter because you can be going on those roads at 11 o'clock at night and it's perfect daylight and there's not a car to be seen. So
Exactly. Okay, what's Brad? What's the last thing we're going to leave everybody with?
The chances of the Blues bringing home the Stanley Cup, I'd say, are pretty high. And the chances of having a fantastic Nmra convention in St. Louis, the gateway to the West, are even higher.
Exactly. And do you know where the road to the Stanley Cup goes through?
Well, the road to the Stanley Cup is almost certainly going to go through the Maple Leafs.
Yeah, if they get past the first round for the first time in 20 years. Don't get me started on that. That's it. All right, everybody go to the Gateway. The website is gateway2022.org. You type that into your Google internet machine, and away you go. And I think you'll be pretty happy with it. It's a very well or laid out website. And I think I highly recommend to everybody that this is going to be a great convention.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for the opportunity. I really enjoyed it, and we appreciate it a great deal. Looking forward to seeing everybody in the Gateway to the West.
And we're not quite done. We're almost done, but we're not quite done. So just sit still now.
Okay.
Gordy, you want to try giving out the email address?
Yeah.
No, you don't, do you? I'll give it out.
Go on, you give it out.
Okay. Our email address, if you have any questions or comments about this podcast, our email address is modelerslife@gmail.com. That's modelers with one L like clinic, not two L's like LLC. There you go. And we have a website. Have you ever thought to yourself, we have a website, it's amodelerslife.com. This is on our free channel. So each week, Brad, we have an episode, a podcast on Monday and a podcast on Tuesday. But on Tuesday, they're behind the Patreon wall. For just 16 cents, 365 payments of 16 cents a day, you can have twice as many podcasts a week.
What a value.
What a value.
It is. It's an amazing value.
It is an amazing value. So, that's on our Patreon channel. And if you go on our website, amodelerslife.com, you can just scroll down and there's a click on that link. And also, if you didn't catch the email address, you can just click on a picture of the moderately agitated male boy and a particularly agitated straight. And finally, Brad, have you ever had the desire to have a T-shirt with a hot dog on it?
Well, I have a dachshund, so the answer would be yes.
Okay.
Yes, I have.
Well, if you ever want any AML merchandise, any Modelers Life merchandise, all you have to do is go to Midwest Model Railroad. They're the official hobby shop of the AML Nation. If you just go to Midwest Model Railroad, and their URL is midwestmodelrr.com, and you go across the navigation bar and click on the AML link, boom, you are in a wonderland of AML merchandise.
They have like sausages in a bun on there?
No, I'd say it's hats, T-shirts, hoodies, mugs, pretty much anything you need.
You lured me into that with the question regarding a hot dog on a T-shirt.
Well, there is a T-shirt with a hot dog on it.
Oh well, okay.
Brad, it's not Costco, man.
No.
It's a massive hobby stuff.
Yeah. And then, of course, if you want to buy an actual model railroad, Brad, if you're ever looking for something to do, you should drive over to Independence, Missouri, and check them out. It's a fabulous hobby shop.
They're in Independence, Missouri. Is that right?
Yep, huh. And it's 13,000 square feet, and it's like walking into a real life Walther's catalog.
Holy cow, that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to do just that.
Good man. Perfect. There, we just got him a customer, Gordy.
There you go.
Yeah, awesome. And you can get new T-shirts because, of course, the new AML range for 2022 is now available where you can get your studio T-shirts.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. The new studio T-shirt. Okay, I think that's it, isn't it, Gordy?
I think so.
All right. So now, Brad, at the appropriate moment, you have to say happy rails to you.
Got it?
You can do that?
I can do that. Yep.
There's no singing. There's no interpretation. It's just simply happy rails to you.
No, I understand that. And when I see you in person, I'll tell you a little story about that phrase.
Okay. Well, Brad, as we close the barn doors on another episode of A Modeler's Life, and the sun slowly sets over the back 40, I guess there's nothing else left to do except for you to say,
Happy rails to you.
While in Busted Knuckle, guests of a Modeler's Life podcast stay at the Casa del Sol Motor Court and Inn, where late-night dancing at the Rumba Room is a magical event to be experienced.
It's another Lincoln Homer.
look at that. We killed an hour and 33 minutes, and people are
It's
going
only
to be...
quarter. It's only quarter to 2 in the morning.
And it's only quarter to 2 in the morning. We could do another whole podcast, Gordy, before you go to bed.